Tiffany Burnett White did a study at UIUC where she proved that this can be extended into brand connectivity. And if you're in business and you're trying to make a connection to your customers, this is the type of connection that you want to have. You want to have them put their brand on your brand on their self map, right? I am an XYZ man or woman. I am, this is Ford versus Chevy. This is New York Mets versus New York Knicks. This is, the people that you appreciate that aren't necessarily someone, you're not somebody to them, but they're somebody to you, like a sports fan relationship or any type of brand, Apple versus Android, right? Where you select that you are more this type of a person than that type of a person. And this is where those things get mapped onto your self map. And this is why you can have emotions about your favorite sports team winning or losing the big game. Or this is how you can have a bad taste in your mouth when something is said about a brand that you like or a brand that you dislike in the headlines of the newspapers or where it is that you're reading it, right? That type of stuff gets mapped into your same simple defense of self mechanism, but the self itself is the thing that's getting more complex. Now, there's more things on your self map that must need to be defended. And we'll get into specifics of that in just a little bit. Sam Harris came along and proved that politics and religion work the same way. We get attached to those things, and you don't even have to go as far as Facebook to see arguments about both of those in your news feed, right? People defend their attachments to their sense of self that is associated with their existence, their life story, what they've attached to, including politics and religion. And you've got a number of things that can become attached to your sense of self. This is your life story. This is every thought you have when you think of who and what you are. This is your memories. This is your cultural heritage. This is every idea that you identify with when you think of who am I. Every idea goes on this self map, and every idea then needs to have a defense of self response based on what you're attached to. Like if you have a PhD in some special field and somebody says, oh, that PhD isn't worth shit, well, you're going to feel rubbed a little wrong way like that on that statement based on the fact that you spent time and you know the value of that PhD and you know the stuff that you know that other people don't know, and somebody just disparaged your entire 4 years of going to get a PhD or whatever it is of the specialty in your field, and well, that's going to piss you off a little bit. Well, that's your defensive self mechanism associated with your attachment to your PhD or your life story or whatever it is that's you're having a perception come in, and we'll talk about this in just a second. There's an equation, but you're having a perception come in that doesn't balance with your expectation and a preference. And we'll talk about that moving forward. But this is how your simple nervous system creates all of the myriad of your emotions associated with everything that you care about in life. Now, this is important because if you understand this about yourself, you can start to move things on and off your self map that were more important previously, maybe not so much important today when you make a conscious decision about the things you want to care about and spend time with, and that can bring up emotional turmoil in your life. And it can also help you read the minds of the other people around you and understand exactly where their soft touch points are, where their hard touch points are, and whether or not you should address a certain topic or something. If you're trying to make a sale, you don't want to bring up a sore point for them connected with making the sale of your product, right? You want to be able to understand what connections their mind is making. But the big 50,000 foot view, you can see the more stuff you got on your self map, the more shit there is to ruin your day. So this is the first point of making an intellectual decision based on what's on your self map, what you can move around, what you can maybe care less about, because you can take some of these things on the center of your self map and move them out toward the side. I can't tell you how awesome my life became the day that I took politics off near center of my self map and moved it out near the edge, almost off to the edge of the self map, where I don't care about the headlines anymore that come through on a political news feed. I don't let it bother me anymore. My stress level is way down in comparison to what it used to be on politics stuff when I was reading the headlines and caring about this stuff and entranced every day on what was going on with politics, and it was something that I consciously did. I took it right out of the center of my self map. Said I'm not going to care about this stuff anymore. I put it out near the edge. When a election comes up, I spend a couple of weeks reviewing the planks of the people who are trying to get my vote, and then I make a decision. And how awesome is it for me that I get the rest of my life back, getting to ignore all of the political stuff for every day except for a couple of weeks before an election. Man, it changed my life. It was amazing. And then each one of these things on your self map has an association with it. And I just wanted to point this out. You guys can figure this out, what this stuff is for you. For instance, if you got politics on your self map and you have various planks, those planks can be connected with the economics, the taxes, the entitlements, abortion, healthcare, candidate, pundits, all the things that go into an emotional analysis of the politics that are going on. So one dot can be many dots that are associated with each other and all connected with each other. And when you hit the one dot, it'll light up the other dot. Like, you flick one of your planks over there to the right, and all of a sudden that discussion of that plank gets you into the discussion of politics or whatever it is.